Well, hey, y'all, and welcome to the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch. I'm Susan, your hostess. It's very early here this morning. The sun is just now coming over the horizon, and I wanted to come in here with some intentional living for you today. But before I start that, I'm going to read a Bible verse because it has to do with the intentional living card that I'm going to start with. It's out of James chapter 3, verse 1 is the verse that goes with the card, but I'm going to read a couple of different verses here. My brethren, be not many masters, knowing that we shall receive a greater condemnation. For in many things we offend all. If any man offend not in word, the same is a perfect man, and able also to bridle the whole body. Behold, also, behold, we put bits in horses' mouths that they may obey us, and we turn about their whole body. That's verses 1 through 3. King James Version, James chapter 3. I want to set that down and get that out of the way. So, what does that mean? It means for us to be intentional living, teachable. Y'all can see I wrote it in pencil on my card so that I can reference that later on. So, being teachable, what does that mean? It means that we are able to receive instruction from others. And so I receive instruction from the Word of God, and I receive it from my husband and from other people around me that helps me to grow and learn. Being teachable means you're learning. So that is a very important intentional living card to have. We bring up our children at a very young age, and children before the age of 5 absorb almost all of their knowledge before the age of 5. It's just amazing. And then they go off to school and they spend 12 years in the educational system. And if they're lucky, they get to go for another 4 to 8 years in college, receiving instruction. But our instruction should first come from the Lord, and then from things that we know that are good and healthy for us, good morals and things like that. We can learn and glean from those as well. God has given us a brain to absorb so much information, and we are in the information highway with the internet and have been for a few years, which was also talked about in the Bible. I think it is the book of Daniel. It says, "Shut up the word until the end of days, because for the full knowledge," or something like that. I should have pulled the verse, but I didn't think about it. My second intentional living card goes along with what I just did is Bible reading. So intentional living, daily devotionals, and prayer time. When I spend the first few minutes of my morning in the Bible reading and uh, reading the devotional for the day and expressing my needs for the day, just praising God for the day, praying for loved ones and friends, um, that is an intentional living, but it also starts my day off on the right foot. And my day goes much better when I do that. And I'm able to handle conflicts when they come my way because I've already spent time with God first. This one I'm really focused on this year. It's intentional living is prioritizing self care, especially for women. We are the caretakers of the family, the home, and our husbands. Many of us work outside the home too, but our husbands go off to work, our children go off to school. We take care of their lunches, we take care of their dinners, we clean the house, we do all of a lot of paperwork for our home, managing bills and money and things like that. And our husbands will retire, our children will graduate and move out, and we're still working. And so we need to learn to prioritize our self care, which means taking care of mind, body, and soul so that we will be healthy and be able to handle the stresses of life that come. One of my biggest issues that I struggle with is the doctors call it generalized depression. Um, and when your children move out of the home, it's the empty nest syndrome that sets in, and you're still the mom, but they're on their own, and you want to be able to encourage them and give them some wisdom along the way. And it's really up to them whether they accept that or not. And we have to learn to cut that umbilical cord, or you know get back in our little nest and allow them to grow on their own. And it's really a difficult part of self-care, is to let go of all of those issues and focus on self. And right now I'm focusing on my health because I have type 2 diabetes with a host of other autoimmune disorders, and it's almost taken me out several times. I mean, completely out of this world. I was near death's door several times, and I can tell you that God's kept me here for a reason. And I think the reason is to teach others and be teachable myself. But being able to take care of myself and get past all of the hardships that I have placed on my own body by not paying attention to the triggers that are the body presents, um, is going to help me in the long run. So you need to prioritize your self care, and nobody else can do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. There are days that I literally have pulled myself up by the bootstraps to be able to get through a day. I suffer with brain trauma, from past hurts and things, and I struggle with that. It's called living in survival mode. And so when those triggers come, I am now aware of what they are, and I know how to work to get my brain to turn off that switch. Sometimes we are not able to do it right away, but it's there, and that playlist will be attached right up here. Intentional living is budget time, budgeting money to get projects done. Most of Americans live on a budget, or they have a very limited amount of resources that they can use to do big projects. Like we had to have a roof put on not too long ago. We're going to have flooring put in our mobile home, and we're going to have the whole underneath of our mobile home replumbed. And so when we budget our money and our time, we'll be able to get those things done. And we've made a list of everything that needs to get done, and we're going down the list. And as we can do something, we're going to mark it off our list. Eventually, it's going to get down to these big projects that we may be putting off because we just don't have the funds right now. So, budgeting your time and budgeting money is extremely important to get those projects done, but also that you have budgeted money for emergency situations. They call it a little nest egg sometimes, but when you have your car breakdown, or you have a major fix, like we had a well issue that had to be fixed, and we had to call in the professionals because we didn't know how to do that. Um, we were able to get that done because we had budgeted money and put it back and saved it instead of spending it. So learn to save your money instead of spending. Maybe put back half a paycheck a month to start with. Um, you can start with $5 or $10 if that's all you can budget right now. But you really want to put back larger chunks of money so that you can get these projects done, and you'll have the funds there ready when you're ready to do those projects. Intentional living is to be a delight. Oh, I'm sorry, be diligent. I read the card wrong. Be diligent. Diligence comes from your inner self. You have to be motivated to get things done. And sometimes that is visualizing what you're going to do before you do it. And so you want to be diligent, and you want to get those projects done. You want to get whatever you're working on that day done. Um, and you want to do it one time and one time only. Um, so you want to make sure that you have everything there before you start your project. Be diligent. Intentional living is also to become confident. Confidence is something that some people lack. Um, Confidence would be a firm handshake. I'm very confident when I shake your hand. Um, Especially when you're going on a job interview, you don't want to go up there with a wet noodle hand and just kind of lay your hand in theirs. That tells them that you're not diligent and you're not confident in your task. Um, right off the front end, I was a manager for a while, so that was one of the clues to me was how they shook hands. Another would be how they sat in their chair and if they were paying attention or not. If they're leaning forward, tells me that they're engaged in the conversation. If they're making eye contact, they're engaged in the conversation that's happening between us. And so how you present yourself, you're not slumped over when you go into a job interview. You've got your shoulders up, you're dressed presentable. You're not just wearing, you know, everyday house clothes. You're going in there dressed for success. That shows confidence. And I practice this every day. I get up and I get dressed. I put on my face because I never know who's going to knock on my door. And I'm ready to face the day. And I am expressing confidence in the manner that I'm dressed and the manner that I work and just in general manner of engaging with each of you. That's confidence. It takes a lot of confidence to get in front of a camera. This is another biggie for me, and it has helped me so much. Intentional living is turning off the distractions, the TV, the phone, the radio. Quiet, please. Yes. Believe it or not, I went through years and years and years that the moment I woke up, that TV went on because it was background noise in my home. And it actually clutters your mind and your brain. Um, so when you need that time, that space of time where it's just quiet around you, you're more focused and you're able to get through projects easier. Now, some people work better with a radio going in the background or music or something. I like to clean my house with music going on, and sometimes I'll turn on my praise and worship music to clean house with, but I want something upbeat to keep me motivated to get it done. But there are moments in my home that I just want to work and have that peace and quiet around me, and peace is the key to all of this. We have 3 more cards left, or 4 more cards left. I may have pulled out more than 10. Intentional living is enjoy the moment. Even the most menial tasks that I have in my house might be scrubbing toilets. And no, it's not an enjoyable job to scrub toilets, but it is all about how you go about doing things. You can either have a lot of drudge and hatred for doing, I hate doing this. And that mentality just wears you down and you are not motivated to get out there and do it. But if you put enjoyment into whatever task you're doing, that little task of scrubbing the toilet, because you know that your family's going to come home and they're going to come home to a clean toilet and a clean bathroom or a clean kitchen or clean floors, or maybe you have um, rearranged the living room. Find enjoyment in whatever you're doing. And men, it's the same for you. When you walk through that door of your home, the first thing you should do is put on a smile for your wife. Don't bring home your work problems. Just smile and enjoy the time with your wife. And women, don't go to them immediately and say, I had such a rough day and blah, 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 blah. I'm guilty of it. I know many of us are. But we need to put on that enjoyment bringing back the joy of life. And, we've been through so much over these last few years. We really need to bring back that joy and enjoy every moment that God has given us. Intentional living is review goals daily. I have a list of goals, personal list of goals for myself, but I also have my to-do list. I have other lists that I use throughout the week that help me to stay focused on everything that I'm doing. And I need to be able to review those to make sure that I have completed a task. And when you review your goals daily, you will notice that you're marking or checking things off your list. And that is showing you are successful. Intentional living is be kind to yourself, be kind to your spouse. We are a married couple, a husband and wife, according to the biblical principles set down in the book of Genesis. And there's a lot of times where there's a conflict in the home, and we can get into a heated argument over absolutely nothing because, number one, you give it to God. Number two, you remember to give it to God. And sometimes we have to back down and say, honey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that, because we get excited, we get overstimulated, and we mess up. And married couples will stick together through thick and thin, no matter what happens, no matter how many arguments that they have. They will stick together because they have learned to be kind to their spouse. They put God first, the husband second in the marriage, the wife underneath the husband, the children underneath the wife and the husband. In that order, according to biblical principles, we're doing the same thing that God has done with Christ as the head of the church, and we are the bride of Christ as Christians. So we're living a biblical way when we are kind to one another. And we are to be kind to one another and affectionate towards one another in the marriage, because the two become one in a marriage. The last card, intentional living, is make a daily to-do list. It's easy to get up and have a lot of ideas on your mind, and you might get a phone call that interrupts you in the middle of the day, and you have lost focus on what you were doing. When you have that to-do list in front of you, you are ready to face whatever comes your way, and you can get right back to the task with all the interruptions that you might receive. And if you're not able to finish your to-do list, you can always take that item off that day and put it on tomorrow's to-do list. That's all I have for you today, folks. Intentional living. It's working for me. These cards are coming in so handy. I'm hoping to build up at least 365 of these intentional living cards, so when I go forward, I can just pull a card for that day and focus on that. And don't forget our sentence: today I will, and you fill in the blank. Today I will be joyful. Today I will be an encouragement. Today I will love. Today I will help a homeless person. Today I will praise God. Simple things. Put the card somewhere to remind you, maybe on a mirror in the bathroom. Today I will, and you fill in the blank, and you start your day with that. Be blessed, everybody, and thank you for watching.